Another WNBA controversy is here, and this time, it doesn't involve refs, doesn't involve stat padding, and it doesn't even happen on the court. It happened with a fan. Atlanta Dream star Alicia Gray found herself at the center of a heated back and forth with Indiana Fever supporters, and it's got the internet divided. Was Gray out of line, or was she just standing up for herself? Today, we're breaking down everything that went down, why it matters, and what this tells us about the WNBA's growing spotlight and the tension that comes with it. So, here's what happened. The Atlanta Dream were in town to play the Indiana Fever. Tensions were already high. Both teams are scrapping for playoff positioning, and the Fever, led by Caitlin Clark, have been the most talked about team in the league all season. During the game, or more accurately, after the final buzzer, things spilled over. A Fever fan sitting courtside reportedly started jawing at Alicia Gray as the players were leaving the court. We don't have the official audio of the exchange, but multiple witnesses confirmed that the fan said something personal. Not basketball trash talk, not your team sucks or you can't guard her. Something that hit below the belt. "And Gray," she snapped back. She turned, pointed, and exchanged words. She didn't put hands on anyone. She didn't cross into the stands, but she made it crystal clear. She wasn't going to just let it slide. Now, let's pause right there, because this is where the debate starts. Fans, especially in the WNBA right now, are closer to the action than ever before. Smaller arenas, more intimate crowds, players hear everything. The Fever fan base has exploded with Caitlin Clark in town. We're talking packed houses, national TV, people traveling city to city to see her. That's amazing for the game, but it also means you're getting more of the good and more of the bad. More genuine supporters, but also more hecklers, clout chasers, and people who think they're part of the show. And look, trash talk is part of sports. Always has been, always will be. But there's a line. Players will tell you, you can boo them, you can clap when they miss a shot, you can yell defense when they've got the ball. But when it gets personal, when it crosses into family, appearance, or things off the court, that's when respect disappears. From Gray's perspective, this was about self-respect. She's not just some rookie trying to earn her stripes, she's a vet, a 2017 WNBA champion, a 2020 All-Star, someone who's been grinding in this league for years. And let's be honest, players in the WNBA don't have the same buffer NBA stars do. In the NBA, you've got rows of security, staff, media in between. In the W, you're basically 2 feet from the crowd at all times. If somebody wants to get under your skin, they can easily. So when she fired back, it wasn't about being soft. It was about making it known, I'm not here to be disrespected. You paid for a ticket, not for the right to say whatever you want to me as a human being. Of course, the internet wasted zero time picking sides. Some fans praised Gray. They said athletes have every right to defend themselves, especially when it goes beyond basketball. Others criticized her, saying, "You're a professional, you should ignore it." Or, "You just made yourself look bad in front of the cameras." And then there's a third group, the messy middle. People who are like, hey, this is what happens when the league grows. Bigger spotlight, bigger crowds, bigger drama. This whole moment actually taps into a bigger sports conversation. Where do we draw the line between fan passion and player safety? We've seen NBA stars deal with this for years. Remember Russell Westbrook? He's had multiple incidents with fans heckling him courtside. LeBron James once got a couple ejected for crossing the line in Indianapolis. Kyrie Irving famously flipped off Boston fans in the playoffs. The NBA has protocols now. Players can point security to a fan and they'll get tossed if it's over the line. The WNBA, not quite as clear. The league is still figuring out how to handle these bigger, louder, rowdier environments. And that's part of why the Alicia Gray situation has blown up, because it's not just about her. It's about the league growing into these new challenges. And let's be real, this wouldn't be as viral if it wasn't the Fever. Caitlin Clark's presence has turned every Fever game into a national story. So when an opposing player claps back at a Fever fan, it instantly becomes a debate about Clark, about Fever Nation, about how opposing teams and players are treated. Gray didn't say Caitlin's name once, but online, that's where the conversation went. Fever fans got defensive. Dream fans felt like Gray was being unfairly painted as the villain. And casuals, they just ate it up as another layer of WNBA drama. And then suddenly, it wasn't just about Alicia Gray and a courtside heckler, it became another proxy battle in the larger Caitlin Clark discourse. Was this about protecting Clark's fan base? Was it about jealousy from other stars? Or was it just a simple moment blown out of proportion because anything connected to Indiana right now gets magnified tenfold? That's the double-edged sword of the Fever spotlight. Every cheer feels louder, every slight feels bigger, and every controversy snowballs into a national talking point. And think about it, Clark doesn't even have to say anything. She could walk off the court, head down, completely uninvolved, and the internet will still find a way to drag her name into it. She's become the gravitational pull of the league, and everything, opponents, teammates, refs, even fans, gets sucked into her orbit. That kind of attention is great for visibility, but it's also dangerous because it means stories that would have been minor footnotes a year ago now become front-page drama. If this same thing happened in, say, a Dream versus Wings game without the Fever in the mix, would we even be talking about it? Probably not. But because it happened in Indiana, with Caitlin Clark somewhere in the frame, it instantly transforms into a referendum on the WNBA's biggest star, her supporters, and the culture forming around her. And here's the kicker. That spotlight doesn't just weigh on Clark, it weighs on everybody else. Veterans like Alicia Gray feel it when they're suddenly painted as the bad guy, just for standing up for themselves. Rising stars like Aaliyah Boston or Angel Reese feel it when their accomplishments get overshadowed by the never-ending Clark discourse. Even coaches and refs feel it, because every decision gets analyzed through the lens of, how does this affect Caitlin? It's not fair, but it's the reality of playing in the Caitlin Clark era. And that's the paradox of Caitlin Clark's rise. She's the engine of growth and the magnet for attention, but she's also the spark that ignites every controversy. On one hand, the WNBA has never been this visible. Attendance records are being shattered, national broadcasts are pulling in numbers the leagues never dreamed of, and merchandise is flying off the shelves. That doesn't happen without Clark. But on the flip side, the discourse becomes warped. Every hard foul, every snub, every fan interaction gets twisted into a bigger narrative about how Clark is treated, how her opponents feel about her, or how her fans behave. Even when she's silent, her presence shapes the conversation. And here's where it gets really tricky, because that spotlight doesn't just make Clark a symbol of growth, it makes her teammates a target. It makes opponents like Alicia Gray collateral damage in battles they didn't even sign up for. And it forces the league itself to walk a tightrope. How do you promote your biggest star without alienating the veterans who built this stage in the first place? So when Gray snaps back at a fan, it's not just Alicia versus Indiana anymore. It's painted as Alicia versus Caitlin, or Alicia versus Fever Nation, or even Alicia versus the future of the league. That's not fair to Gray, but that's the reality when the brightest spotlight in sports history suddenly lands on the WNBA. Think of it this way. The WNBA is suddenly living in two worlds at once. In one world, you've got the vets, the Aja Wilsons, the Breanna Stewarts, the Alyssa Thomases, the Alicia Grays. Players who bled to get this league to where it is. They played through empty arenas, fought for fair pay, juggled overseas contracts just to keep their careers alive. For them, every ounce of progress has been earned the hard way. And then in the other world, you've got Caitlin Clark. Not by her own fault, but by sheer force of hype. She steps into the league and instantly the cameras follow her. Now put those two worlds on a collision course. The vets are proud of their work, proud of their legacy, proud of the WNBA they've fought to build. But they're also human. They feel the sting when years of grinding get overshadowed by one rookie's spotlight. And fans? They pour gasoline on the fire, because for every new Clark supporter filling arenas, there's an opposing fan base ready to clap back and defend their own stars. That's what Alicia Gray's moment represents. It wasn't just her telling off a fan. It was a lightning strike in the middle of that storm, a flash that revealed everything bubbling underneath, the pride, the tension, the hunger for respect. And the reason it went viral? Because deep down, everybody knows this isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about identity. It's about who gets celebrated, who gets overlooked, and how the league manages a once-in-a-generation shift without tearing itself apart in the process. So what happens now? The league will probably keep a close eye on this. Don't be surprised if the WNBA quietly issues new security reminders or protocols. Don't be surprised if teams start reminding fans what's acceptable and what's not. And for players, this might be a turning point too. Do you clap back knowing it'll go viral? Or do you ignore it and let it eat at you? That's a tough call when you're being tested in the heat of the moment. At the end of the day, this Alicia Gray Indiana Fever fan incident isn't the biggest scandal in the world. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got suspended. But it is important. It's a snapshot of where the WNBA is right now. Growing, buzzing, emotional, sometimes messy, but always real. For Gray, it's a reminder that these players are human first. For fans, it's a reminder that passion doesn't equal a free pass to disrespect. And for the league, it's a reminder that with growth comes growing pains. What do you think? Was Alicia Gray justified in snapping back, or should she have walked away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns of WNBA drama, player stories, and league growth, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.